Hi, everyone. Life Coach Carisa back with you today. I wanted to share some ideas with you about how to accept living a 50-50 life. I've introduced this concept of a 50-50 life in other videos before, but what I want to talk about today specifically is how you truly accept this idea, this concept, to make it a part of how you live your everyday life, and why this can be of so much benefit to you if you can do it. So let's start with what 50-50 means. 50-50 means that something is equally good and bad. It's likely and unlikely. It's favorable and unfavorable. So how do most of you feel when you hear the term 50-50? Does it sound disappointing to you? Or do you think I have just as good of a shot at something going in my favor as I have with it not going in my favor? It's 50-50. How do you view that term 50-50? Because how you view it really sets up the foundation of where you'll start with this whole concept. My former self, I didn't like the odds of 50-50. I had a belief and a persistence that I was in control and could try to achieve at least a 90-10. I mean, I wanted 100, but I would maybe accept a 90%, 10% life. Well, let me tell you, I spent years striving for this, and it did not take me anywhere good. My mental and physical health suffered. My relationships with my loved ones were greatly affected. I paid the price of living a life of resistance and trying to control everything. So let's try to open up to this idea of using the 50-50 concept to view our own life. The truth is, we are all living a real human experience. And to truly live an authentic human experience, that means it must consist of good and bad. Why? Because without the contrast of pain and discomfort, we can't fully experience joy and happiness. I mean, really think about that. I mean, our brains tend to tell us a story that ultimately want us to, feel happy and good 100% of the time. But if that happened, you would have to feel good and happy about very sad and unfortunate things in life. You would have to feel good and happy when you can't walk like you are doing every single day because you get plantar fasciitis and it sticks around for 3 months. Yes, I'm talking about me. To want a life that felt 100% good all the time, I would need to be happy about that. But I'm not happy about it. I have just chosen to accept that this scenario is one of the downsides of my 50-50 human life that I'm living. So to want a life that feels good and happy all the time, I would need to convince myself that even my father's passing recently is somehow a positive experience. But it had very complex and troubling factors associated with it. So of course, I'm not going to want to be inauthentic with myself and just try to convince myself to feel good and happy about that. I am choosing to accept that this life is filled with the ups and downs, and that is what is meant for me. I truly accept it. All the good, all the bad, all the favorable, and all the unfavorable. And by accepting this truly as a philosophy of my life, I allow myself to experience all of it, all the positive emotions, as well as all the negative emotions. I have learned that I can feel the discomfort of life and I'm okay. I can feel any emotion. It will not kill me. It may not feel good in my body, but I also know that I can get better at feeling my feelings if I want to. So when I truly embraced this 50-50 concept in my life, what did it look like? I will tell you, I stopped resisting. I stopped trying to control. I stopped trying to script my life. I stopped trying to control others. I stopped avoiding feeling my negative emotions. And I learned how to let it all be present, the good and the bad. And I didn't need outside buffers to make myself feel better. I suffered every single time I argued with reality. this shouldn't be happening. This is bad. This is wrong. It should have gone another way. But this was my life and my circumstances right now, whatever that may have been. That was my life. And what knowledge did I really have that life wasn't supposed to be happening that way all along? It was just the story in my head that I was creating, that it shouldn't be happening this way. Making peace with my life being 50-50 lessened all of my own pain and suffering. I accepted that the world isn't perfect. Human beings aren't perfect. This life and all of its humanity isn't fair. And I accepted that it's not ever going to be fair. Sometimes terrible things are going to happen to good people. Children will become sick and will pass away. There will be accidents. There are things that happen in the world that we cannot control and that are not fair. People are going to say and do things that feel very wrong to us, inappropriate, unacceptable, all of it. And when we start to believe that the world should be fair, we're going to be unhappy a lot of the time because we are arguing with the foundation of life. No one was promised a life without suffering or challenges. On the contrary, we were told that through struggle and difficulty, we will grow, we will evolve, and we will become a better version of ourselves through all of the overcoming that we do. I have fully accepted that myself and all human beings will have both good and bad within us. There are going to be good parts and bad parts inside of us. And we may very likely show our ugliness 50% of the time. This is life. This is all here to teach us to live a good life, despite all the negative parts to it, to overcome and show others an example of how to live, a life, even when negative circumstances fall upon you and, you still keep moving forward and you still keep loving and you still keep being a caring person. To not let those circumstances define us, to not let it change the goodness and worthiness that lives within us all. Most of us are trying to desperately change the world and people around us so that we don't ever have to feel the discomfort of negativity. But when we can say, wait, this is part of the deal. This is part of my human existence. I will choose to be a good person and I will choose to improve what I can in my own life and be an example of what can be for others. I will do it from a place of optimism with unconditional love and acceptance, and not from the discomfort, from the resistance that I'm trying to prevent. There's a big difference between those two energies. Because this world is never going to be without challenges. And if I sit around and focus on all those challenges and what feels wrong in this life, then I will feel miserable and unhappy. I am guaranteed that. And that is what I will end up pushing more of out into the world. But if I accept that this life of mine was not meant to be perfect and that the challenges are here to teach me, to help me grow stronger, to let me be an example to others of how to handle adversity, then that can be my higher purpose. We can have the best of intentions with our motivations, but we must accept that these are our own motivations, something we created in our own minds. Each and every one of us are having an experience because of our own past experiences, trials, beliefs. So what's it look like to really embrace the concept of living a 50-50 life, to truly make it part of who you are? When I wake up each day, I remind myself that today is going to be a 50-50 day. It releases all this pressure from me for perfection. It allows me to accept that challenges are going to come, and I will just do my best when they do get here. I don't try to plan ahead and try to script life so closely that I'm setting up resistance for what a true, authentic human life will bring my way today. So I practice thoughts like these, and you can jot these down and maybe create some of your own thoughts to intentionally practice each and every day. I am not promised a life without pain and suffering. My journey is to learn and grow through challenges. I am stronger than I realize. I am learning to be a person that embraces a 50-50 life. Good can often come out of difficult circumstances. I will become stronger through every challenge and adversity that I face. I am learning how to be an example of someone that does not challenge what unfolds in my life. And then I ask myself these good questions, because your brain loves a good question. Negative questions, it will give you all sorts of negative answers. But when you ask it a good question, it's going to try to help you come up with an answer. So I'll ask myself these types of questions when things come up that maybe I wanted to previously resist and wish they wouldn't happen. How is this challenge here for me, not against me? Why do I believe life wasn't supposed to happen exactly the way it is? What can I learn from this? What if this was actually here to teach me something? How do I want to truly show up in this circumstance? And how can I overcome difficulty and love the way that I show up? So I'll ask myself those questions and I'll journal about it often, see what comes up for me. I'll get very curious about it all rather than having this negative energy around it. So when something doesn't go my way, the way my primitive brain told me a story that it would, I'll say to myself, hey, Carisa, it's all going to be okay. You aren't writing the script of your life. You're just here experiencing it. You can choose to resist this and feel all the negativity that comes from arguing with reality, or you can accept it as it is and tap within yourself to find strength, patience, forgiveness, understanding, and compassion. And so when something really bothers me about my life, I get curious and ask myself why, because I must be in resistance and it must be here to teach me something that I need to know. And when I approach my life this way, I just feel so much better. And when I feel better, I'm a better person to myself, my family, my friends, even strangers that I interact with every day. And that's what's so special about this. It's when we allow ourselves to be right and wrong, good and bad, nice and mean, thoughtful and unthoughtful. And we don't heavily judge ourselves. Then we can feel better. We feel more at peace. We can feel more connected to others. We feel like we can understand that everyone has an alternate view, and their view is not more important than mine. Trying to understand another's view or their story can really help us have compassion. And it helps me have more compassion for all of humanity. It helps me back up from being within the tight, group of people and thoughts that I'm surrounding myself with. And it allows me to step back and ask myself why. Why did that person do that thing to that person? Why did that person take that action and cause themselves such a negative repercussion? Why did that person commit that crime against another? And instead of judging them for all of it, I try to just understand it, that there is good and bad, right and wrong in this world. I rarely get upset anymore. And if I do, it's at a level 2 rather than a level 10 that it used to be. And so this is what I want for all of you. I want to show you how you can transform your life, just as I did, by believing, practicing, and putting into action what it means to accept that this life we have been given is 50-50. It requires mindfulness and intentionality, but with some patience and practice, you can absolutely get there. All right, this is what I have for you today. I hope you found this more in-depth explanation of the 50-50 life concept helpful, and I hope that you can take away some specific action steps to make it part of your belief system for how you choose to live your life every day. Now, remember, if you enjoyed this video, please click like and share so I can get my message out to even more individuals that could be encouraged by hearing this message. And also be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you can get notified as soon as I publish a new video as those come out. All right, everyone. Thank you for listening. Have a great rest of your week, and please take care.